My name is
M.L. Elric.
And today's the day that I
podcast.
But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I've been poisoned with some kind of Chinese synthetic. You gotta do something for me, Doc.
They gave you the coronavirus. It's cutting off your adrenaline. If you stop, you die.
Now, I've got 1 hour to settle the score. Say goodbye to Mark and Sean.
You're supposed to be dead!
Your whole crew is history.
You ass interrogative questions
out of my face. Gone.
What are you doing? Come on. That is not paid for by them. That is paid for by the people of Detroit.
You might be qualified, ML.
I'm not qualified for this job.
Let me tell you something. You want to go right now? Okay? You want to go right now, Elric?
Well, these are troubling times, different times, challenging times, which is why you're seeing all of us remotely, except for maybe Mark Fellhauer, who I think is represented by the Drew and Mike logo, because we come to you this week from our hermetically sealed bunkers spread throughout the country. Like the Supreme Court and the leaders of our federal government, we do have a safe location where we've been dispatched so that while the rest of the country crumbles, we're able to lead it in a better direction. And I don't want to say this is by design, but perhaps we've been selected because of our genetic superiority, with, of course, the exception of Sean Windsor, who is with us regardless.
I got a letter from the government the other day. I opened and read it. It said they were suckers.
The letter we got from the government that said, not that we were suckers, but that we have to stay in our homes. Mark Fellhauer joins us from the Drew and Mike bunker. Sean Windsor joins us from...
say something about granola. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say granola. I was going to say the sandalwood capital of the world.
Yeah, use it. Go ahead. I mean, be original like you usually are. That'd be nice.
But we're happy to be with you, and we're happy to be with you on Facebook Live. Thanks to our friends at Altus Beer. Some people say Altus. I don't debate it. I just order it. I call it delicious. So let me tell you about Altus, because it's one of the original Detroit beers that went away for a little while, but now it's making a comeback in the greatest city in the world. It's the do anything, anytime, with anyone beer. We're not here to judge. We're just here to tell you to make the right call. Bars may be closed, but Altus is available at stores throughout Michigan. If you want to find out where to find it, you go to altus.beer. And I'll tell you what, while we're locked in our houses, we could use a little beer to get through this. Not so much that you start getting scrappy with people, because we don't want things to get uncomfortable.
It's the beer of social distancing. Why don't they just adopt that phrase? The official beer of social distancing? Yeah, why not?
Okay. Now, if you have too many, you may start wanting to close that distance, but I need to encourage you not to. Although I did recently read something in The Guardian that said it's perfectly safe to have sex with a partner who you know, but they say kissing is a bad idea.
Yeah.
And analingus is a big no-no.
Just now or always?
Well,
that sounds like an editorial.
Anyways, you've got to buy somebody an Altus if you're trying to get that kind of action. But I always try and make sure that I've got lots of Altus in the garage where it's nice and cold, or in the fridge. You know, a lot of things started in Detroit here that went away, but we're really glad Altus Lager is back. It packs a punch and is seriously smooth. So go pick up some cans a day at the store, have them shipped to your house, have somebody deliver them if you can't go get them yourself. But now more than ever, we could use a little good news. Altus Beer is back. That's the good news. You can find out more at altus.beer. And they also have some really cool swag, like this pretty sweet cell phone case cover that I'll be installing any minute now. So Altus, thanks for bringing us to you by Facebook Live. And thanks to you for staying with us, because things are crazy. We're losing a lot of sponsors because a lot of businesses are shutting down, but we're committed to coming to you each week, despite the many challenges, because we think it's important to provide this bit of normalcy, and because we appreciate you and we want to connect with you and give you something to do while you're working at home, which to me has always been the biggest hustle. There are some businesses that don't like you working remotely. My experience has always been that the 8 hours, you put in way more than that, because you just can't stop looking at your damn computer. So to those of you watching us from your home office and listening to us. Thank you very much. And if you are watching us, please remember you're only getting a portion of the show. You can get the whole show by downloading us from our website, mlsoulofdetroit.com.
And for those people that are listening and not watching right now, can I just set the scene? You're
yes, in fact, while you set the scene, let me run up and get my power cord because I see my laptop is about to crap out on me. So, Mark, take it from here. I'll be right back.
Sean, now we can talk about him now that he's out of the room.
Well, what do you mean now we can talk about him? Now we can talk.
Well, exactly, period. We now have free reign.
And by the way, that whole thing about, normalcy, and this is why we're doing the podcast, that sounds great, but can we be real? Sure. Mike wants to hear himself talk for an hour and 10 minutes. I mean, that's really what this is all about. He was not going to miss that chance.
Absolutely. But are you surprised that he is lacking in some technological areas? That kind of surprised me today, his lack of knowledge about his router and Wi-Fi and how all that works and an Ethernet.
Well, I mean, I'm not that great with all of that stuff either. So I guess it doesn't. We're journalists, right? And journalists, I mean, we're older journalists, and so we're stubborn that way. We don't keep up with the times in terms of technology. So I'm kind of with him. You are much further ahead of us in terms of that.
Well, I know that's my job, but you knew the answers to certain things that he didn't. And that's why he sounds a little more hollow now because he's in his living room or dining room, right? He moved to his dining room. He's got a lovely picture behind him.
That he likes so much. He just, he's got a little light sconce on the top of it, right?
That's what I was going to say.
And I'm curious, and we can ask him when he sits back here, Mark. I want to know what he really uses that light for. I mean, that looks like the coast of Ireland or maybe the northern
Dover,
northern England or something. But is it really about that? So let's ask him when he gets back.
It's kind of fun because so many people in the media are working remotely just to see what's in the background of their house and their room. I mean, you're in an office. It looks like so you have shelves up on.
No, I'm not in an office. I'm actually in a garage. My house, it's a little house here, is made mostly of cinder block.
Can you make more noise when you come back?
And the Wi-Fi is terrible. So
okay.
I'm actually in a garage where there's a booster out here, to help with the router, so the signal's a lot better. So what you see are just bookshelves. I'm sitting on a couch and trying to balance the laptop so it doesn't shake too much with the camera.
You're doing a fine job. I like that you actually have a microphone of some sort, unlike some people. Who just made a ton of noise when they came back to plug in.
Shit, I just got a power cord. You want a microphone now?
Yeah. Well, no, it looks like you do have one on there, but I'm not even going to go through how to use that. It'll take forever.
Well, yeah, we have a couple of questions for you now that you're back.
Microphone.
Can you hear?
Jesus, will you stop?
Sorry.
That's all right.
Don't touch it because it makes noise. Come on.
Well, he can hear that too. Are you finished?
Come on, man.
All right. So where were you?
What'd you do with the booster seat that would normally be in the chair you're sitting in?
I don't boost nothing, man. Everything I got's earned.
By the way, would you just tell the people, yes, we want to help with normalcy, all that, but you really just are doing this because you want to hear yourself speak for an hour and 10 minutes? I mean, that's what we were talking about when you were gone. We were hoping you'd come clean to that.
That's not true, but I'm about to provide some evidence to the contrary because last week when we had our first ever St. Patrick's Day in Exile show, which is perfect for the Irish because the Irish have been exiled now for 200 years because of some other pain in the balls named Windsor, or I guess
you're so oppressed.
May have been before the Windsors, but I had some limericks that we didn't get to because we had so much going on that I feel I should share because I would hate to waste.
Yeah, of course you do.
This wisdom. So let's start with Sean. Sean Windsor's an amateur lover who struggles mightily under the covers, but he got something right because his boys are both bright and sweet Anne has forsaken all others.
Wow.
Listen to that.
How kind.
Not bad. I have a friend known as Mr. Fellhauer who podcasts dry or under a shower, but this talented producer is a gifted reducer, which is why Soul of Detroit's just an hour.
Okay. I'll take it.
Not bad. Not bad.
Never heard anybody rhyme my last name.
Let me tell you about my man Joe. His brain works fast, but his lips move rather slow. It's a credit to him he's not subject to whim, and the ladies line up row by row. And, of course, that's for Mr. Joey Zoovs, who is somehow pulled us all together, which is pretty good. You may think that you know Stout ML, and it's said that he's harder than hell. His intentions are good, though they're misunderstood. So his therapist assures him he's quite swell.
Beautiful.
That's lovely. That's you opening yourself up a little bit. By the way, can you explain to us what the light is really for? That's behind you, the sconce light over the Irish. Is that Northern Ireland or is it Northern England? Maybe
it's the Republic, my friend. That's the Cliffs of Moher.
Oh, okay.
Oh, who doesn't know that?
That's right.
Yeah.
Everyone should.
Are you guys getting a little stir crazy being stuck at home? Have you ventured out?
I've been lucky that I've been able to get out to almost daily briefings at City Hall and to police headquarters. Last week we were out there to find out about some of the how coronavirus has depleted some of the police force. And if I were not broadcasting today, I would have been at a press conference at City Hall because DPT has announced the loss of one of their own due to coronavirus. There was a 38-year-old employee at the DPD call center who had some pre-existing conditions and succumbed to COVID-19. So obviously our thoughts are with everybody who's lost someone and to this loss with the Detroit police. If you want to read more about that, you can go to freep.com, where a lot of people are going to keep up with this. I hope some of those people are subscribing, because those of us who are relatively new there, who are churning out a lot of information, are worried that we might not be there very long because people think news is free. It may be free to you, but it's very expensive to gather. And there's a lot of people working really, really hard to keep us informed and hopefully keep us safe. So there's a free plug for the boss.
Well, it's amazing too. They're on the front line. Reporters are on the front lines, not as much as healthcare workers or hospitals, but still to be out right now, I think is kind of crazy. And some people have to go out.
I would consider grocery store folks kind of frontline workers at this point, right?
Have you guys been to a grocery store recently?
Yes.
I was at CVS yesterday, and I was at a grocery store on Friday, and I'm amazed at how genial everybody is. In fact, I was at the Aldi, and I was in a really tight parking spot, and I was backing up a little bit to give the car next to me more room on the driver's side. As I'm backing up, the woman who's the driver walks up to her car, and she didn't wait for me to give her more space, so my rear view mirror kind of brushed her. Now, that's normally the thing on the east side that gets people out of their car and screaming in each other's face. And everybody was just waving and very kind and very gracious and very polite. And I thought, well, I don't know if I just ran into the nicest woman at the strip mall, or whether people are taking a breath and saying, maybe we need to be a little more human.
I would agree with you. That's been my experience.
You don't think everyone's just scared of each other still?
Well, that may be that too.
I think that's part of it. I don't know how long this will last, though. Right? To me, it's like we're in the window of kindness and amicability and that sort of thing right now. Because if it goes too long and too many of us start losing jobs and all of a sudden we're scrambling to get food, that'll change everything, obviously. So we're in that kind of spot where there's uncertainty, we're unsettled, we're a little nervous. As you said, Mark, we're staying away from each other, but at the same time, we're being compassionate in a way that's kind of refreshing.
Yeah, I think when two people reach for the last roll of toilet paper, that's when we get back to then we get back to battle mode. But we're not there yet. Did you guys talk at all while I was running to get the juice here about
no, we said here CVS?
No, we did not mention. We did not talk about your CVS part of the show. We just tore apart your room and your lack of technical expertise. So you said you went
fair
to
comments both.
You went to CVS, and what happened?
Yeah, so of course I'm going to get a prescription filled, and there's so while I'm waiting, I'm like, well, let me see if they have any aloe. Let me see if they have any rubbing alcohol, because one of the things you can find at freep.com is how to make your own hand sanitizer. And of course, there's none of either there. But there's a woman who's wearing a smock, and she was hanging out in this aisle for a while. And I said, excuse me, can you tell me where to get the aloe? And she said, I don't work here. I'm like, well, you clearly are working here. I don't know if this is social distancing run amok. And she said, no, I work for Hallmark. I'm loading the greeting card racks. And I was just staggered by that. So I posted something on Twitter and Facebook. You can find those at Elrick, ELRICK, and at MLELRICK on Facebook, where you're watching this broadcast. And I posted, first of all, what dedication? And second of all, what's the point? I mean, at a time of crisis, I'm really not looking for discount cards.
I assume most of them are get well soon cards.
Yeah, the COVID-19 line is not out yet, but I'm sure it's just around a corner. But some people, I think, didn't quite take it the right way.
Oh, wow. Well, it's Twitter, though. That's Twitter for you.
I followed the thread, and there were plenty of people that were genuinely saying, well, wait a second, maybe we should be sending cards, or are you saying what's the point of kindness or caring or whatever? And obviously I knew you didn't mean it that way, but I could see how plenty of people that maybe don't know you that well took it that way.
Yeah, I mean, my point was, first of all, God bless this woman for coming out and doing a job that, no offense to her, does not seem essential at this time of great turmoil. But also, hey, Hallmark, lighten up. This is somebody you could probably give a day off. I mean, this woman's out there probably at minimum wage refilling racks at CVS, which, of course, are places that are more prone to be full of sick people than any place else. And I just thought, my hat's off to you. But hey, Hallmark, kiss my ass.
It doesn't seem to be an essential job right now, I would think.
No, although one of the amazing things I think that we're finding out, and I think it's a really important lesson, is how many essential jobs there are that we didn't think were essential. I mean, I can tell you, as somebody who used to stock the shelves at our family market, where we actually did have Altus, the original Altus, people walk past these folks all the time, and my God, where would we be without them? And I'm someone who gets really mad at friends and family when we're shopping, when they take something off a shelf and then just drop it somewhere else in the store. I've always been like, somebody's got to put that back. Why don't you put that back and save them some trouble? I hope that we're all showing some appreciation and at least treating with utmost courtesy folks who you may have just brushed past in the aisle, or occasionally you see these eye-rolling sons of bitches who are just like, you're in my way. I'm trying to get the Perrier pink grapefruit flavor. Could you please move, sir?
On the way over here, with here being the studio, there were a lot of DTE people still working in this area, trimming trees to rewire stuff, which they've been doing. This area is notorious for bad electricity, which I'm like, wow, that's, of course that's essential. Sometimes you don't think about people because they're just part of the environment that you always see.
Either that or you feel some low-level guilt, maybe. It's the same, you walk into a school. If you've had kids, you just walk into a school and you walk by the custodian and you don't even make eye contact. There are lots of jobs out there where they're not making a lot of money. They're not fun jobs. And on some level, you don't feel directly responsible, but on some level, there's a little bit of inequity there, right? And so it's in your heart if you have any empathy at all, and it's hard to deal with that. You suppress it, but I think that's what you're talking about, Mike. We walk through these stores all the time, and we never pay attention because on some level it's not comfortable to.
Or they're just always there. You're just used to seeing people, and they just blend into the background, I guess.
But do you see them as people? I'm not saying you particularly, Mike.
Yeah, because I know people that do those jobs.
Right. But I think to Mike's point, this is a good time to remember that these are people, because it's easy to not think of them that way and just right.
I'll give you the best example. How about truck drivers right now?
Yeah,
I mean, how essential is that to get stuff across this country?
Absolutely.
And people when they think about truck drivers, they usually are mad because they're in the left-hand lane of wherever you're trying to go.
Right. No, for sure. I was thinking about that the other day because I live near a freeway, and all I hear, mostly what I've heard the last few days have been trucks, been semis. You hear the brakes slowing down or so forth, because there's a bend in the interstate where I live a little bit, and so they slow down so you can hear those brakes. And it's interesting to. And I was thinking about what you were thinking about, Mark, just what they do and how this country would shut down if we didn't have them.
Yeah, so let's hear it for the Teamsters. Just in thinking about that, as someone who's mopped those floors and who has stocked those shelves, going forward, let's certainly treat these folks with dignity, because I think there's a lot of people who are like, damn, if I was making $10 an hour, I sure as hell wouldn't be here. But I think that not only speaks to how out of whack our wage scale is, but it also speaks to some extent to the desperation that a lot of people live in, that they're risking their lives to take your money at the checkout counter at a store, because while you may be saying to yourself $10 an hour, I'd walk away from a job that only paid me $10 an hour. They're saying this $10 an hour job is the difference between me and being on the street.
And food. Yeah.
To add to that point, we all know that people are going to be suffering. There's so unemployment filings are through the roof. So why in the hell can't they pass a bill in Congress, one that should have been passed last Thursday? Are you guys surprised that it has been voted down party lines?
I'm surprised it didn't just get rubber stamped like the Persian Gulf War, because people are so afraid of being labeled because of what party they're in. But I have to think that some of what's going on now draws on recent history, where they remember the last bailout plan helped all the rich guys. And as soon as they got bailed out, the rich guys started giving themselves bonus and acting like assholes again. And so I like to think that one of the holdups now is people are saying, if we're going to spend even more than we did last time, for the love of God, let's make sure we do it in a way that the people on the lower rungs of the society don't get the shaft.
I agree with that.
And the people on the other side get the mines.
I agree with that. However, if you talk to most economists and people that worked back on the 2008 bailout and TARP, they would say the two things they did that were a problem was they didn't go big enough right away. They were too timid. Right. And secondly, they spent...
And that was the Republicans then.
And they spent too much time nitpicking who's going to get what at what level, instead of just flooding people and businesses in the market with credit and liquidity.
Yeah, and it actually hasn't been too bad if you think about it. It started last week. The House did their thing. And while they were putting it together, they were kind of actually working with Mnuchin and folks in the White House, right? Because Trump and Pelosi couldn't work together. But at least Trump's people and Pelosi were working together. And they got that done fairly quickly. And the Senate hasn't taken too long. I know it got voted down yesterday, but that was largely because of the $500 billion fund that the White House wants to just be able to indiscriminately, well, not indiscriminately, but just pass out as they want.
Fine.
Without oversight, right? Yesterday when Trump was asked about it, he said, I'm the oversight. And Democrats are arguing this is just going to be a slush fund going into a campaign.
But can we deal with that down the road?
Well, one thing that I think is really important, I have to give the president a lot of credit for this if they follow through on it, is that he said he didn't want any of this money used for stock buybacks, which I think is absolutely critical. And I was very glad to see him speak to how his tax cut for businesses, he was disappointed that businesses really funnel a lot of that money back into themselves. And I thought that was something we could have heard from him a couple of years ago, but I was really glad to hear it now.
That's what most people predicted, by the way, that it would go back to stock buybacks, the majority of that money. So I don't know why
people knew that. People knew that, Dan. Yeah. I mean,
they should have put a break on that then. But at any rate, let's not make the same mistake twice. But I do think any industry or any business that gets government aid has either got to guarantee to repay it or give us stock so that we can have a stake in that company and we can sell it at some future point so that the American people are made whole again on that, because I don't like this idea of just giving away money, particularly to businesses that were not being prudent. Now, nobody could predict this, but you do have to have some reserves, and those who have just been taking money in and pushing it back out, I think there's a great parable about the grasshoppers and the ants. And the grasshopper just played and sang and danced and fiddled all damn year round while the ants were storing away things for the winter. And when it got cold out, that grasshopper was freezing its ass off, and he wasn't laughing at the ants anymore. And he was about to die when the ants dragged him underground and warmed him up. And then he played some fiddle music for them, and they shared their crumbs and all that other stuff. Now, in reality, the ants would have dragged him underground and eaten him, because ants eat just about anything. But I think this country needs to be a country of ants. We got enough grasshoppers.
Yeah. I don't know. We need grasshoppers.
I like that one. Okay.
We need grasshoppers too, Mark.
You lost me at fiddle.
Look how we've been surviving the last week with grasshoppers on TV on Netflix. I mean, right? That's what we need. We got to tell stories. We can't just burn fire. We got to tell stories, man.
By the way, is anybody else bothered that every how to get through this period says here's things to watch. Here's things to read. What about books?
Ew,
have we
gross.
forgotten about that?
Nobody wants to read. Everyone wants to watch stuff. You know that.
So
hey, you know what? Look, I'm with you on the books, but there's a reason when the Depression hit, right? That Hollywood pumped out romantic comedies and and people want to escape, and you can escape into books for sure. But with books, I guess you could get on to an electronic book.
Plus, who owns books? You can't go to the library and get a new book. I mean,
or a bookstore. Although you could order online, maybe. I guess
you'll get it in 2 months.
A lot of people have these free libraries out there, and the good thing about a book is you don't have to pay for it, and the power's not going to go bad. So you're not imposing on the grid. So let's support folks, and let's support the people who are supporting us, and that is our new sponsor. Very pleased to have Lindsay Broadwell on board the Soul of Detroit. So when it's time to move into a new house, whether you're buying or selling or doing both, because usually you got to sell one before you buy one, you need to contact the agent that we recommend here at Soul of Detroit, and that's Lindsay Broadwell. Your home is one of your most valuable investments, and that's why I recommend Lindsay Broadwell. Lindsay started her career with our friends at Hall Financial, and now she's an expert in real estate, understanding all facets of the business. When it's time to move, Lindsay will make sure you get the most out of your house and that everything goes smoothly. She can also find you a new home that will fit all your wildest dreams, just like Pedro says. Buyers, sellers, even first-time buyers, make sure you contact Lindsay at BroadwellHomes.com, licensed realtor at RE/MAX Nexus. That's BroadwellHomes.com, or call 248-767-7767. And if you forget that, just pound 7s and 6s on your phone. Lindsay will answer, unless she's doing a closing or a listing, because she's pretty busy.
I'll vouch for her. I know her. She's a very, very fine woman.
There's a testimonial from our own Mark Fellhauer.
Yes.
If self-quarantining and social distancing have made it all too clear to y'all that your house is just too damn small, Lindsay will help you right-size and make a move that will save you money and maybe even your sanity. That's BroadwellHomes.com, 248-767-7767. Be sure to tell her that ML sent you. And if you're buying a home, well, my goodness, you need to finance that sucker, right?
Wow, what a segue.
Oh, we started rough, but we are humming. We are just humming. Our friends at Hall Financial have a couple questions for our listeners and our viewers here on Facebook Live. Are you paying more than 4% on your mortgage?
Do
you have lingering high interest rate credit card debt? And right now, believe me, you want to get rid of that debt. You may or may not know that right now rates are within fractions of a percentage point of their lows of the past decade. A smart idea would be to call the company with over 1,000 five-star reviews, including my own, that has recently been averaging 10 days from start to finish on listeners that have applied for a refinance of their mortgage, and that is Hall Financial. It's a simple process, and it's no secret saving money is smart. You can get started by calling 248-308-5000 or going to davidhallmortgage.com. If you want to check in to see if something makes sense for you, go to davidhallmortgage.com to get started, or call my man Dan Morrison at 248-308-5000. And make sure to tell them that ML Soul of Detroit sent you. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1467435. And speaking of real estate, I have to give you a little update on our rental property in East Lansing. You know, we've been really worried that if school closes down and kids don't go back to school, where's the rent come from? Where's the mortgage payments come from? Well, we just rented that little upstairs apartment in the one house. And I'm very happy to say that, because we had been trouble when we were checking the backgrounds of some of the other prospective tenants. We found a lot of problems, but one of the things that really, really eliminates people, and I think we've been telling people this for a long time and they should know, but what you put on social media can take you out of the picture. So here's...
Oh, man. I can only imagine, especially at that age, too, college students.
But some of these are adults because we were renting it at a time when most people had their housing for the semester. So my wife, Teresa Baldus, recently named Michigan Journalist of the Year, by the way. She
congratulations.
Had an outstanding nomination letter that I think made the difference.
Oh, yeah, it's always about that.
Of course,
so she holds
also,
it.
I also nominated myself, and it didn't make the difference. So maybe she did have something to do with it. And runner up by a hair was Phoebe Wall-Howard of the Detroit Free Press, also an excellent journalist. So congratulations to Phoebe. But Teresa was backgrounding some of these people, and here's some of the people we were ready to rent to until we saw their Facebook posting. One guy writes, "A bitch just tried to do me like Penelope Cruz did Johnny Depp. He got a brick in the trunk. What? I ain't a killer, but don't push me. Psych, I'm retarded, bitch."
Oh, okay, great.
So, out.
Man, did you have a lot of people to choose from, though?
Yes, we do, because we're actually, this is a very reasonable monthly rental rate, and it's a really cool spot.
Who else did you find? What else?
Here's another one. I hate Lansing weed men. They need cars because my dumbass ain't got one. So they should have been sold enough weed to buy a car. So when you can't buy a car, we're thinking maybe the rent is not going to come through either. Here's another one. How you say someone's song buddy, but you know the hook, get your fat ass on, go eat a dick up. Another, you think I give a fuck what people say? I'm forever young dog, and the only person going to judge me is God. So I appreciate that they appeal to a higher power, but as a landlord, I'm not sure if I want to call them and say, hey, the neighbors downstairs think your music is a little loud, and the response I get is, get your fat ass on, go eat a dick up.
Great guy.
Another guy took himself out of the running. I spend $100 on some weed, but soon my phone bill due. I'm like, yeah, that's too much.
Really?
So not paying the phone bill, probably not paying the rent.
What a nightmare trying to pare that down.
Oh, and then there was another one. I'll just say, hopefully I can show you this.
This is all Facebook or Twitter or Instagram?
Well, we're checking Facebook. Here's one of the profile things from somebody.
Well,
love me some Five Finger Death Punch.
What's wrong with that? That's a good band.
I think this is a self-portrait. I just don't want to be shot in the face by a devil with 2 6-shooters if I come to say, it looks like your security deposit isn't going to cover the damage to the unit.
Sean, I'm surprised, Sean, how judgmental he is about these people.
He's not let people. He doesn't want people to express themselves. You're right. It's interesting.
You're trying to silence people.
Yeah,
how about if your fat asses go on eat a dick up? Are you good with it now?
I don't know. Maybe that's
see how that's used in context. It's very hurtful.
Maybe it's a cultural analogy. Maybe they eat dick where he's from. I don't know.
It's very hurtful.
Maybe it's
and
a woman.
I am touching my face, which you're not supposed to do, but I'm going to wash my hands. So. I just want to say one other thing before we move on. We have a lot of friends who own bars and restaurants, and some of them have put up pages for you to donate to support their staff. Please, if you can spare some money, do that, because these folks are really in limbo. And my daughters work at the Traffic Jam and Snug, which is in Midtown Detroit, which is just a great place. Unlike some restaurants, they made sure that they paid all of their employees their last check, which is huge. Is really big. And I would like to say that that's just what you should do, and that's what's expected. But I think there are a lot of people who have been left in limbo. So let's support the people who have supported us, in addition to recognizing the people who really truly epitomize the dignity of work. And I also want to say a few words for one of our sponsors who is going through some business changes. That's Zott Ford.
Yeah.
They've shut down the showroom because they're not selling cars. They would actually probably do better if they just shut down the whole dealership, but they're not. They still have the service center open. And their first message to you is stay safe, stay in your homes, only do what you need to do. Do not expose yourself or your family or your friends to danger. Take care of yourself first. And I think that's a really righteous message, because you staying home does not help them move sheet metal. Mm-hmm. But if you need any services on your vehicle. Their parts and service department is open because they've been deemed essential businesses by the CDC. And so it's nice that somebody listens to the CDC, political commentary aside. They're taking every precaution to keep their team and their customers safe by cleaning and disinfecting not only their business, but each and every vehicle they work on. So they will continue to pick up and deliver vehicles that need service for those people that prefer not to leave their homes but need vehicle maintenance done. So please reach out to Anthony Ketchum or Steve Gabara with any automotive needs you may have. I know they will do all they can to help our listeners out. These are challenging times. By working together and looking out for each other, we will come out of this sooner rather than later and stronger than where we started. So that's Zott Ford.
Do you mind taking your foot off the squeaky toy?
Yeah, who is that? That's you?
That's Toby.
Well, hold Toby up. Let's let the people see Toby.
He's known little baby shithead, my daughter's puppy. I'm unlike a lot of people in Detroit. I'm not raising my grandchildren. I'm raising my daughter's puppy. So it's kind of the same thing.
Well, pick them up.
It's nice being home. I'm with our two cats, Jack, who we all love, and then the hated piss cat, who's really annoying. So I'm actually hoarding kitty litter because when things go south, they go south fast when the cat's pissing all over. And then we have the two dogs who bark all the time, but now they're kind of mellow. He's wandered away, so I'm afraid I can't grab him at present. He's a little squirrely. But I'm thinking if you have a business that's out there and you want to sponsor the show, we sure would love to hear from you. But if you have a business that's out there that you think is particularly worthy, we are donating some spots to people just to try and get the good word out there and to try and support the people who are trying to keep this community and this economy going. So send us an email at mlsolvedetroit@gmail.com. Let us know what you're doing, what word you'd like us to share, and we'll try and get some of those on the air for future shows because we feel it's our part to support this economy. Damn dog. Despite the many challenges we face, which reminds me, Caju Cafe is closed for now, but I did have one more limerick I had to share for
great
for the Caju. So let me see if I can find it. Oh, this is a disaster.
By the way, nice wasting a mask on your head today.
I've been using this. And as you can see, ML Solve Detroit stickers, which are available at drewandmikestore.com, can be repurposed to help you personalize your face masks. Besides providing an extra layer of protection between perspiration and respiration, they can make sure that when you grab a face mask, it's yours. So by the way, if you are using a face mask, good idea to put your name on it because you don't want to grab Typhoid Mary's face mask and instead of saving your life, bring it to a premature end. So in tribute to John and the good people at the Caju Cafe, all are welcome at the Caju Cafe. Makes no difference, white or black, straight or gay. But when John blows his horn, a new baby is born, and John swears it's not his. No effing way.
Well done. Well done.
I won't change my mind on anything, regardless of the facts that are set out before me. I'm dug in, and I'll never change.
Freight nut. Freight so. Freight nut. Freight so. Freight nut infinity. Freight so infinity plus one. No.
So we're getting some mixed messages out of Washington. The CDC says this. The White House says that. Sometimes they come together. Other times we're just kind of left to pick for ourselves. One of the most important things that everybody seems to agree is that as unpleasant as it may be to be essentially a prisoner in your own home until further notice, if we all did this, we would cut down the spread of the coronavirus tremendously. In fact, I've seen some estimates that say if we all just kind of bunkered down in 2 weeks, we'd have this thing behind us. That feels a little optimistic to me, but I think the important point is the less people you interact with, the less likely you are to spread it or to become infected. Now, that has had some devastating impacts on our economy, obviously. But just the other day, the president was saying this country was not built to be shut down. And there have been some suggestions that we should perhaps reduce our social distancing and get a little closer because it's better for commerce.
Is this a soliloquy or is this a debate?
This is a big wind up to Sean Windsor because you're about to take over, Big Punisher.
No, I'm not. I just wanted to point out that a couple hours ago, President Trump tweeted out a couple hours ago, our people want to return to work. They will practice social distancing and all else, and seniors will be watched over protectively and lovingly. We can do the two things together. The cure cannot be worse by far than the problem. Congress must act now. We will come back strong. So he started suggesting this yesterday, and then the machine out there behind him started suggesting that last night on the late night shows, and you can hear it again this morning. So it's coming. And I wonder if this is going to lead us to right back to the division we had a week ago, right? I mean, now that we're not all on the same page, or at least starting to hint that we're not on the same page. I'm curious what y'all think.
Well, there is
is that a soliloquy?
Oh, there's Toby. I just saw him.
That was a question.
Well, clearly states and the
Clearly
federal...
You're not short of breath, so you don't have it.
The federal government and the states are not on the same page. It's interesting to hear a lot of Cuomo today, Granholm yesterday, kind of ragging the federal government, which at this point, I don't know, why weren't more people prepared? My disagreement is there's a lot of hysteria over what Trump said. I really think, and I don't like him, but I really think it was his way of projecting some kind of hope in his own Trumpian way that, look, this isn't going to go on forever. We are going to get people back to work one way or another.
Really? I mean, maybe so. The skeptic in me thinks that he's had to close 6 of his 7 top earning clubs, hotels, resorts, as the Washington Post reported this morning.
Yep.
And I would bet that's part of it too, because in one club in particular that it makes $75 million a year.
Is that Corona Largo?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't know if that was on the list. Maybe it was, but look, if you give him the benefit of the doubt, yes. He could also be saying this because he wants to boost the stock market.
Yep, I think that's a lot of it.
All right, which would make some sense. And people are getting stir crazy, and look, even the scientists will tell you that they understand we can't keep this thing shut down for 18 months or however long it takes to create a vaccine. We're gonna have to open it back up, the spikes, shut it back down. I mean, this is gonna be a roller coaster for a while, right? So, we can all agree on that. We can't shut it down for the next 3 or 4 months. Because then we get into the issue of how we can eat and food and shelter, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my concern with anything the president says, and I don't think we should be thinking about things in political terms right now, but
it's already happening. That's what
it is. But my concern about what the president says is I'm never quite clear who his constituency is. Is it the American people or is it the stock market? Because he has put so much weight on the Dow and on trying to sustain these amazing stock prices that I'm concerned that it clouds his judgment. And that's one reason why, other than the fact that people are going to start soon to miss paychecks, that I'm not as concerned about getting that economic stimulus package through Congress in a blink of an eye, is because I think it's better to have good legislation than hasty legislation. I
disagree with you. I disagree with you.
Is being pushed is really just to sustain the stock market, which to me is.
But that's not ML. That's not how it works right now. This is so bad. This was so quick of a drop. We just need equity. We need liquidity coming back in. We need to get stuff moving again. I don't care if it's spent in the wrong place. It just needs to be spent.
Yeah, but it leads to much bigger issues down the road.
Right? That's fine. I'm talking about right now, though. You got to get money into those people's hands that are unemployed right now. There's 1099 people that can't get unemployment that are going to be out of a job. I mean, this is really bad. Now is not the time for bickering.
I completely disagree, Mark. You can take a couple of days and get this right. I'm with Mike on that, right? I mean, we're not talking about a month. We're talking about another day or two. It looks like they might even do it today.
Well, they probably will pass it today, but they've wasted 5 days. They really have wasted 5 days. Does it help the market? Sure. But you know what? They got to get that stability back into lending to small businesses and, frankly, getting money into, that $1,000, getting it into those people's hands so they start spending it. I mean, the engine needs to start moving again. Wherever it moves, it just needs to get moving again.
This is where the politics of this really pisses me off. Mnuchin went to the Senate Republicans first because the Senate Republicans were pissed off that the last time they did something, he went to the House first. And
who cares?
Spending bills have to start in the House. why not go to the House, which is democratically controlled, get something through the House that all the Democrats are going to agree with, then you bring it to the Senate, where the Senate Democrats aren't going to be able to disagree with it, and you hammer it through. Instead, they're trying to solve this as a political problem as opposed to expediency. And I agree we need to get this money out here as soon as possible, but I've also seen fires where they take hoses that don't work and they pump all the water through there, and by the time you get to the spigot or to the nozzle, there's nothing being sprayed onto the house. So if you want to put out a fire, you got to get a good hose. And I'm not
next week we're going to have a debate on your metaphors.
What's the debate? They're outstanding.
Yeah, okay, whatever you say, grasshopper. I
am Irish. What the hell did you expect? Mostly Irish and some Hungarian, if it suits me.
No, I understand what you're saying, Mark. And that money does need to get to those people. The issue is
fast.
Is the bill going to get it to the people? I mean, that's what's the holdup right now, right?
Exactly.
Where's it? And that's what matters.
And who are the people? Do they all have corner offices, or are they all mops?
Well,
exactly.
They're all people. I mean, yeah, if everybody gets the money equally. I don't want to know that. I don't want the recovery to take way longer like it did last time. And we're on some pretty solid footing. You know, this is a recession for the whole world, not just our country right now. And when we open back up for business, I think we're going to, we won't be back to the heights we were, but I think recover will be pretty quick if they get everything moving right now as best as they can. There's just too much. There's too much unknown, and the more unknown, the more the market freaks out, the more individuals freak out, the more small businesses freak out.
Well, Mayor Duggan said something yesterday at his news conference that I thought was particularly telling and kind of strikes at this. He says, if we can't get people out of their houses before too long, a $10 trillion, he said 10 billion, but I think he meant 10 trillion. A $10 trillion bailout isn't going to be enough. So there really is something to, we can't, just keep pumping money out there. But if we come out too soon, it's sort of like why I was sick for a while, because I took some antibiotics and then I drank some beers and I played hockey outdoors.
Yeah, we all know.
Took some more antibiotics and, so to me, until we know exactly what we're dealing with and until we know the best course of action, stay at home. Mr. President, good luck with getting the country in the right direction. We all wish you well, no matter what our political stripe is, or if you're like me, you're independent because both parties are full of shit. But let's not rush out there just to try and push the stock market up. We've got to kill this thing, and if we don't kill it, it's only going to get stronger.
Oh man, the geeks have inherited the earth.
Did I do that?
What a dork.
Does him wanting to play with us again mean that he's turning into a geek, or we're turning into cool guys?
We got some good news on Tucker Carlson the other night, believe it or not. A gentleman from Texas says he's willing to die and thinks all other grandparents should put their lives on the line to jumpstart the economy.
Tucker, no one reached out to me and said, as a senior citizen, are you willing to take a chance on your survival in exchange for keeping the America that all America loves for your children and grandchildren? And if that's the exchange, I'm all in.
Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, the essence is that senior citizens would die so their grandkids have a better economy, which seems absolutely asinine in my mind.
So it's okay to call seniors if the money is about expanding Medicare, right? Or Medicare for all or whatever, healthcare. Remember the death panels?
Yes.
Remember how the right didn't like that?
Yeah.
Oh, what are we going to do? But it's okay to do that if we want to make sure we can keep 20 brands of cereal on the shelf.
Well, this also overlooks the science, which now we're finding out young people are getting just as sick as old people. So even if we killed all the old, turned them all into Soylent Green, we still are going to get sick with this thing. So there's an old saying in Texas, all hat, no cattle. In this case, I'd say, Lieutenant Dan Patrick, you're all mouth, no brains. And what you said, yes, it doesn't make you noble or brave. In fact, it makes you our Geek of the Week.
There's an all-night party in room 7609. And you can dance together all time.
In the New Wave Testament, Split Ends begat Crowded House. And Crowded House begat a great tune that I hope is not a little tale that we're going to be telling after we get through this crisis. It's a little ditty called Never Be the Same. Oh, man. So if you were early on MTV, you probably remember Split Ends great band out of New Zealand and Australia. They had some decent hits. I Got You, History Never Repeats, One Step Ahead. Well, that band was founded by Tim Finn. His brother Neil Finn joined in, and then they split up, and Neil kind of took over Split Ends, and then Neil started Crowded House, which Tim later joined. So it is very Old Testament with these interminglings and all these this and that and the other thing. But one of the things that I really love about this song is, first of all, it starts out with a great bass line, which you got to have, and those just amazing lyrics. Don't stand around like friends at a funeral, eyes to the ground, it could have been you. I mean, I think when we're thinking about people sick and what we're going through, it's sort of a, we're afraid to interact with people, and oh my goodness, what's going to happen? So it starts out on what could be interpreted as a little bit of a bleak note, but really this is a song about interacting with people. This is a song about getting over our grievances. And it ends, I like to think, on an upbeat note, because we might still survive and rise up through the maze if you could change your life and never be the same. And maybe the message here, although this was written so long ago, they had no idea this was happening, because a month ago we had no idea this was happening, is that we're going to get through this. And maybe when we get through on the other end, we could change our lives and never be the same. Maybe the option we pick is to be better.
Well, that's deep. That's very deep.
That's what happens when you're locked in a house.
I always like Crowded House, which you could have played off the name of the band too, which kind of fits now too with social distancing and being locked down.
So what do you think, boys? I mean, you may be familiar with Crowded House from some of their really super, super huge hits.
No, I always liked them. They're a solid band. So well done. You got me on board with Room 7609.
And nice little explainer afterwards. I was proud of you. No grasshoppers. No ants. I was proud of you. That was nice.
Well, I got 1 million of them, but we're running kind of long, so I should probably keep them short. So that's Room 7609, where great new wave bands that never got their due, or bands that had lots of great hits but had something that just didn't quite get its due, well, we put them center stage. So that's Room 7609. We always appreciate your suggestions for our great debate, for our Geek of the Week, and Room 7609 guests at mlsoulofdetroit@gmail.com. You can call us at 313-288-9070 and leave us a message. That's Butterfield 89070. Of course, we are looking for sponsors. You could be our sponsor. You can donate. Mark, how do they give us their money?
mlsoulofdetroit.com, little button right on the top that says donate, takes you right to PayPal. We'd appreciate any cent.
Yeah, we got a nice little ching from Frank the other day. By the way, I should mention when we had Pseudo Echo on, I think it was Rena who suggested them. But before Rena suggested them, Frank suggested them.
Oh, he wants credit?
I sent Rena a message, and I haven't heard back from her. I'm thinking this might be a chance to get these two great kids together.
Oh, well, you're a matchmaker now, huh?
Yeah, I'm not sure how well a relationship goes when it's based on mutual admiration for a song that played during a Jason movie. But stranger things have happened, and these are indeed strange times. So if you, how do I put this? If you don't want to donate, I can't blame you. There's a lot of better causes out there than us. But if you'd like a little something for your money, you can purchase some of our great swag. These COVID-19 not approved for any reason whatsoever stickers. You can get an autographed copy of the Kwame Sutra if you do want to do a little reading while you're home.
That's why, Sean, that's why he wants people to read. He's got a book. I forgot.
Oh, yes, and it's signed too. And we also have great hockey jerseys and T-shirts available. Mark, where do people get these fine products at very reasonable prices?
DrewandMikeStore.com.
And we will ship those out to you
immediately.
Expeditiously.
Mm-hmm. Faster than you can get them on Amazon, I bet.
Probably.
Right now, yeah.
None of these will save your life, but they will make your life exponentially better. So give us a shot with the swag. Of course, we appreciate when you rate the show, unless you're Gordo.
Poor Gordo, yeah.
Very mean, Gordo.
Yeah. Sean's still
is Gordo being mean again?
No. We love
That's
him.
okay.
We love
you. We're all the same, Gordo. We're all the same, Gordo. It's okay.
We're going to wrap our arms around you in a very socially distancing way, Sean.
I'm going to send Gordo a Hallmark card.
Oh, I know where you can get one. A wide variety, too, because those shocks are laden with good tidings. Yeah. Also, please subscribe to the podcast. That way, when a new episode's available, it'll pop right up in your feed. We appreciate if you rate it. We certainly love it when you share it with your friends. Let's spread the Tao of ML, the gospel of the soul of Detroit, if you will. And please listen to the other Red Shovel networks. It's a great way to get through some difficult times. There's the Drew and Mike Show. There is also No Filter Sports. And, of course, the No BS News Hour with Charlie LaDuff. You've been listening to ML Soul of Detroit on the Red Shovel Network. Be well, be safe, stay indoors, buy Altus, because you got to do something while you're in there. Buy a house with Lindsay, mortgage it with Hall Financial. And Cyrus, take us out.
Can you dig that? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
You're supposed to be dead. Your whole crew is history.
The investigative reporter behind today's podcast
is making his last stand. My name is ML Elric, and today's the day.